Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at property address 1106 Southwest Gibbs Street here in Portland, located down the basement. So we are, and I describe everything in general as if you're standing facing the front of the home. So there's kind of the basement stairwell over there. There's also a front door that goes out. So we're kind of at the middle of the basement right now, going into a 4-inch cast iron. I mean, it's functioning as a clean out. I think this used to have a branch of pipe attached to it. They cut it off and just capped it. So anyway, we're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's running. We're going to zero out here in just a second. I'm hoping we may not get through this set of back-to-back turns. I was going to try. Oh boy. Yeah, that is just about snagged my camera up there. The way that the line is configured, okay, I think we got into it that time there. And my foot counter's being funny. Trying to reset the thing really quick here. There we go. Alright, I don't think we've made it quite to the bottom yet. Just making sure that thing works. Alright, zeroed out here. Dropping into 4-inch cast iron pipe. Off we go. Right now we're heading towards the front of the house, which I believe is the front. I apologize. I'm trying to remember here where the front door is at on this. We're going from the middle of the basement towards the furnace, essentially, and or towards the same side of the house where the basement man door is at. Alright, so if you come down the basement, right up against the foundation wall, you'll see white and black ABS PVC pipe diving down towards another cast iron cleanout that's in the ground, or right at the foundation wall. That's what we're going underneath right now. So there is a cleanout there. This is just an easier point of access. This is the one though, is it lets us see all the pipe under the floor, which you can't see if you go from that other cleanout. Those are directional style. They force you one way. Actually got some updates done out here. Look at that. So 3034 PVC. Maybe it was just a spot repair. They spliced in the clean out there for one day doing an update trenchlessly. I can't tell what we're pushed along in the line there. That almost looks like a couple of pebbles. Yeah, there's one right there. Darn it, they keep moving on too quick to get a good view of them. Alright, and that looks like the main there. There we go. Alright, we're going to do some locates, and then we're going to pull back and see where the that PVC pipe is at. 61 feet to the main. The line has really good slope and grade. The nice part about that is that allows you to do trenchless repairs when the line still has good slope, should it be necessary. We're going to get our best gander at the line here in just a moment, but that's a nice thing to have. Alright, got the camera head located here, and I pull out my GPS really quick and verify the street that's going out to. Alright, so the line is going out to Southwest 11th. The home faces out to Gibbs, or that's the street in front technically. So the line exits out as you face the front, or standing on Gibbs looking at the house. The line exits out the left side of the home from that orientation. Tricky line to locate there. I don't get a very strong signal, but I can pick up a signal there. And it gets to the far side of the road. This is one of those, the house sits so close to the street, it wouldn't have surprised me had we only made it 15 feet outside the house before hitting the main, but it travels to the farther side of the street to hit the main there. On the pipe material we're in here, I don't get stumped very often after 25,000 sewer scopes. This is almost looking like ductile iron. That texture looks a little bit like, and or it could have had an epoxy liner shot through it. That's the other possibility. That was the whole entire reason I figured that clean out went in, where this, like right here, was for the sake of shooting a liner in. That actually might be epoxy line with just enough gunk over the top of it that it's harder to tell the pipe material there. So this is where I'm going to locate right here just to see where we're sitting at, see if any of the newer stuff here is on property or not. All right, so almost directly straight out from the man door that goes into the basement, that's the same door that faces out to 11th. If you go just beyond the curb in the street, you'll see a steel cover plate. It's about a 6-inch diameter cover plate there. Underneath that is that tie-in you see there. And the reason that gets done a lot these days, they'll put an access point in and then do epoxy lining on everything after that. That way they only have to dig a little hole and then trenchlessly do everything else. So the cast iron here is showing a fair amount of pitting in the flow line. Your flow through here is still quite good because slope and grade is good, but that pitting there you see, it's not surprising to see on a house this old. This home's been here a very, very long time. But so far, I haven't seen anywhere where the line looks like it's perforated through, you know, no rotting, channeling, anything like that. That pitting sometimes can indicate you've got pinholes that have formed through the cast iron that have rusted closed. If you've ever been in an old basement, I mean, this one in particular is not the best example because the paint is worn off everything, but if you ever see an old cast iron stack dropping through a basement seal or the ceiling into the basement floor, you'll see some rust drips that go down them. Cast iron, it's not uncommon, older stuff especially, you get pinholes that form, very, very tiny holes. They'll let a little bit of moisture through and then the holes rust themselves closed. Those little nodules in the flow line I was talking about, the pitting, that area there on that hard vertical drop. Like this cast iron here is in really nice condition. The stuff that's further out on that vertical drop is in rougher shape, but still functioning. If this is a place you're going to be at a long time, what I always recommend, I mean, stuff like this with the advent of trenchless repair systems, is get ahead of it, shoot a liner through it before it gets to the point of rotting through and you run the risk of hydro erosion and settling issues. Once you get to that point, you'll lose the ability to do trenchless repairs. But right now, the line is spotless clean. Some of the areas in the cast iron are showing some wear, very par for the course though for its age. The cast iron that's immediately under the floor is in very, very nice condition. There is almost no wear on it whatsoever. So, but I would recommend keeping an eye on the sewer line. I'd rescope periodically and plan to do, I mean, you can update it however you want to, but if you want to do more of a trenchless repair type system, it behooves you to keep an eye on these things and monitor them for any spots that start wearing out. So anyway, that's the middle of the basement right here where we just dropped in. Lighting down here is kind of poor. We go towards the wall of the house that faces to 11th, right past the furnace. If you see where those black pipes are coming down the wall there, right underneath that is another clean out access. That's one there you could potentially use for doing like an epoxy liner on that cast iron, but everything on property here is all cast. There's no clay pipe, there's no concrete. Everything from that PVC pipe and on, that's all city responsibility area there, and all that stuff has been dealt with. It's also not the homeowner's problem anyway. So anyway, all the pipe we've scoped here today, all of it appears intact, has good flow. It's very, very clean too. Line is functioning properly at this time, but I do recommend keeping an eye on the cast iron. And I would plan, if you're trying to do a trenchless repair system on this thing and avoid digging, I would probably be planning to line this within the next 5 to 7 years realistically, but sometimes you get surprised and they go longer. That's the importance of rescoping periodically. I would do that about every 1 to 2 years to monitor the condition of the line. An increase in usage in the house, for instance, can accelerate wear and tear. You know, and vice versa. You can have a slowdown of that wear and tear if there's very little activity on the line. So that's why it's important. Everything, you know, ages differently depending on how much it's used. As we sit here today, though, line is functioning. At least the main line is doing its job.